Hello everyone, and this is the second to last part of our tutorials. So in this tutorial I'm going to show you how to use the free Unity asset Fungus. Now I'm not going to tell you how to use Unity itself because I'm pretty sure there'll be another lecture on that, but I will tell you how to use the asset. So what we're going to do is we're going to go into the asset store. Now if you don't have this window, then in order to bring it up you're just going to go Window, Asset Store, and I'll bring it up right here. Sure, we'll accept all the cookies, why not? And now when we search for assets, we're going to go to Fungus. I searched it recently, so it's just right there. And what you're going to want to do is wait for it to load up and then scroll down. And you're going to want this one right here. So it's completely free. It looks like this. I'm going to click on it. And we're going to hit the import button right here. So now it'll be preparing your package and it'll just decompress and stuff. I'm probably going to have to speed this up in the video because it takes a bit. Oh, and it's package manager dependencies. Yep, install/upgrade. Gonna want to do that. And now we wait. Alright, so it comes with all of these things, and you can choose which ones you want to bring in and choose which ones you don't want to bring in. I normally just import everything, so that's what I'm going to be doing. Hit import. Importing the package, things are coming in. Once again, probably going to have to speed this part up. Alright, now everything is loaded up. I'm going to actually get rid of the asset store. I'm going to close that tab. So now you'll see we have 4 different folders. We have Fungus, we have Fungus examples, we have tests, and we have the scenes folder that we started with. So in this Fungus folder, we're not actually going to be using these folders very much, but the Fungus examples folders are really helpful if you want to learn how to do different things, and just kind of poke around the files and see what happens, because they have different scenes in here that you can use as an example, and you can just look through them. So if you want to learn more about Fungus, because I'll only be going over the very basic things, you can look through here. They also have a website and a very good discussion board that you can get help on. And they have a bunch of video tutorials, so that's good as well. So first things first, in Fungus, the most important thing is the flowchart. And in order to bring that up, as you can see, there's no flowchart here. You're going to want to go to Tools, Fungus, and then Flowchart window. And then you're going to want to take your flowchart window and tuck it somewhere nice. Right here. So as you can see, it says no flowchart scene object selected. So having the flowchart window will help you see your actual flowchart, which you're going to make by going to Tools, Fungus, Create, and Flowchart. And as you can see, now you can actually see this block right here. Now, in this block, I'm just going to rename it. I'll call it Start. You have a couple of things. You can change the color of it with a custom tint. You can make a little description for it. I don't really know what this is for, so I never touch it. And this right here, the execute on event, right now it's set to game started, which is good. Oops, I'm going to keep it like that. And you can actually change it to many different things. So basically, these blocks are going to hold our code, and the code will only be executed when certain things happen. So for this one, when the game starts, that's when the code gets executed. But you can change it to sprite drag, or UI button click, or UIN, toggle change, all of these sort of stuff, flowchart enabled, so if you enable another flowchart. So that's really cool. For now, we're just going to keep it at game started though. And we're going to leave this at wait for 1 frame, so that just means it's going to wait a frame before it actually starts executing anything, which is fine. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to add a couple of things to our scene right here. Right now, it's kind of boring, it's kind of plain, not a big fan, just blue. So I'm going to create a new folder actually, and I'm going to call this Art. And I'm just going to drag in a couple of pieces of art, something we can use as a basis for our examples. So I'm going to go into lecture game and I'm going to see, what can I use here? Yeah, we can use oops o'clock. Oops o'clock is fine. We'll put that in there. So oops o'clock. We'll have, yeah, we can have main menu button, cool. Let's see, an exit button, yep, that'll work. That's confused boy in here. Very cool. And I think really that's all we'll need. So for now, I'm going to add a background to our scene. And I'm just going to create a new 2D object and a sprite. I'm going to change the Z to 0, so that way we can actually see it. And for the sprite, I'm going to drag this in so that now we have a background to work with. Very cool. I'm actually going to make this a bit bigger. That'll be helpful for later. So I'm just going to resize this, that way this is what shows up in the camera. Awesome. So I guess I'll start with like the camera moving and stuff. Let's say we want to make the camera move from here to this trash can. So when the game starts, we're going to have the game look at here, then the trash can, and then we'll make it look back. So we're going to go into our first flowchart right here, and we're going to hit this plus button, and you'll see this overwhelming number of commands. Now, fear not, don't panic. There's a lot of things, but you don't have to use all of them. And if you go through on the Fungus website and they have like tutorials and all that, you'll see what each one does. But for now, we're just going to go to camera, and we're going to click move to view. Now what move to view does is it actually takes your camera and moves it to a certain spot that you set. And that spot will be in the target view. Now we'll notice that it says no target view. We're actually going to have to make a view ourselves. So we're going to go to Tools, Fungus, Create, and View. Oh look, there it is. It's so cute and tiny. But we don't actually want it to be cute and tiny. Kind of want it to be like kind of want it to be bigger. So we're gonna make it a little bit bigger. And I'm going to use the move tool to move it over. So that way we're looking at this trash can right here. Maybe make it a bit smaller. We'll look at the trash can. Cool. And I'll call this Trash View. Awesome. So now it says error, no view selected. We can drag our trash view into here. And our target camera is going to be our main camera, so we'll drag this in here. And now when we hit play, we'll see that when the game starts, we look over at the trash can. Awesome. But we want it to look back now. And that's just going to be making another view, because I'm not actually quite sure how to make it move back to where it was originally since we're moving the whole camera. So we're just going to have to make another view. Now what I usually do is I'm going to hit this button right here. It duplicates the command that you just made. You could also hit this plus sign and like type in camera and then do another move to view, but I'll just duplicate it. So now I've duplicated this, I need to get another view. I'm going to go to Tools, Fungus, Create, and View. In this view, I'm going to line it up as close as possible to where our old camera was located. So I'm going to resize it and put it right about here. That would be good. I'll rename it. So it'll be main view. And now I will just switch trash view to main view. Also, this duration right here, that's how long it's going to go for, or how long it'll take to get there. So if you change this, it'll move faster or slower. I'll keep that at 1 though. So now when we hit play, we look at the trash can, we look back. Beautiful. Perfect. Okay, but I want to make a choice-making game, right? So where are all the choices? We're just moving cameras around. That's a good point. We will start doing that right now. So first we're going to add a little bit of setup to the choice because, you know, you can't just throw a choice at the player if they have no context. So I'm going to type in narrative, and right here, the narrative say. And this is what you use to make a character say something. So I'm going to make it say, hey, make a choice. And as you'll notice right here, we don't actually have a character set. A character is another thing we can make if we go to Tools, Fungus, Create, and Character. So now we have a character. I'm going to call it Tutorial Character. And I'll name them Tutorial. I'll change the main color. Maybe to like, I don't know, red or something. And now you can give them a sound effect and a set Say Dialog. So a Say Dialog is basically when we hit play, and we're going to wait, it's going to look at the trash can, it's going to look over here. Hey, make a choice. So this is the dialog box right here. And the dialog box can be completely, it can be completely customized. So you can change out how this looks. And if you want to do that, you're going to go to Tools, Create, and then a Say Dialog. And you can associate a Say Dialog with a character. So I'm going to put this in the tutorial character. And basically, you can see right here, it's actually on our canvas. So I'm going to scroll all the way out here, all the way out. It makes a canvas right here, as you can see. And this is where you can start editing things. So you can change how big this text box is. You can change the character name and stuff. The name text, you can change this image right here, but that'll be in the portraits. So in your tutorial character, you can see you can give it portraits. And this is where they would show up. They'll just be little figures. And story text, you can change these in this panel. Dialog box sliced, you would change this part right here, and that's what would replace this. So yeah, it's really customizable. If you want to look into that, you can. For now though, I'm just going to keep this as is, and for my tutorial character, I'm going to drag it in here. So now, when we hit play, look at the trash can, look here. Tutorial is saying, hey, make a choice. So awesome, now we can make characters say things. But if we want to let the players choose what they want to do, we're going to have to set up a menu. So we're going to do, let's see, type in menu, and then we're going to do narrative menu. Now, you'll notice it says error, no target block selected. And that's because when you click on one of your options, you're going to send it to a different block. So it's going to start executing another set of code. So this block right here, I'm just going to call it choice 1. And if the player clicks on choice 1, then the character will say, nice job. Nice job. And tutorial character will be saying that. So I'm going to go here, menu, option text is going to say choice 1. So that's what's going to show up when they make the choice. And your target block is going to be choice 1. You can set menu dialog if you want to. It's the same thing as the set say dialog. It's completely customizable, so you can change how it looks, but we're not really going to get into that. So now, when we hit play, we can see, we move to the trash can, we move over here. Hey, make a choice, and then you click choice 1, and it says, nice job. Awesome. So now we can make choices and stuff. Just for the fun of it, I'm going to duplicate this. I'll call this one choice 2. I'm going to make a new block, and I'm going to make it say, nice. Add this to the tutorial character, and then instead of target block being choice 1, we're going to make it new block. Oops, I never renamed it. Always rename your blocks. Choice 2. Actually, always rename everything. Just makes it easier. It makes it easier to organize everything so that way you know what it is. See, this one is just called new sprite. What is new sprite? That's the background. So we're going to call it background instead. And it just makes everything easier to have a handle on. So now, if we hit play, as you can see, look, hey, make a choice. So I'm going to hit choice 2 this time, and it's going to say nice. Awesome. So now we can make the character say things. We can let the player choose some choices. But what if we want to get from the main menu to a different scene? After all, right now we just have one scene, and we have no room for a main menu. Well, what we're going to want to do is we're going to make a block and execute on event UI button clicked. So basically, when a certain button is clicked, these things will happen. I'm going to call this one exit. So we're going to make an exit button, and I'm going to actually create a 2D object, UI canvas, not a 2D object, I'm making a UI object. So I'm going to make a canvas, and in this canvas, I'm going to make UI button. So let's see here. Scroll through. As you can see, we have our tiny button right here. I'm going to make it bigger. like that. And I'm going to go in here and delete this text. So now I'm going to add this exit button in there. And now, on execute on event, button clicked, we can drag this in as a target button. I should probably rename it. Call it exit button. And we're going to go here. So in order to make it quit, we're going to do down here, as you can see, flow and quit. And if you mouse over it and hover, it'll actually give you a description of what each one does. So this one quits the application. So now if we hit play, we can click this and we've exited the game. Even though it doesn't quite look like it, we've exited the game. It's just not going to show up. Let's see. I want to make this canvas. I don't want the tutorial character Say Dialog to be. I'm just going to delete the Say Dialog for now because I don't really need it. And that should keep the button up in the forefront. So yes, now we know how to make sure people can exit out of the game, but what if we want them to go from the main menu into the actual game? Well, that sounds like it'd be pretty important. So what we're going to do first, I'm going to just duplicate this exit button, and I'm going to move it over here. And instead of the exit, I'm going to add main menu 1. So that'll lead you to the main menu. And now I'm going to add another block. Execute on event. UI button clicked. Target button is going to be start or main menu button. And what we're going to do is drag this in here. And now we can do flow load scene. Now, flow load scene, you're going to choose your scene name and write it in here, and then it will go to that scene. We don't actually have another scene yet, so I'm going to make a new one. Create scene, and I'll call this main menu. Now, the sample scene, we're actually going to have to save it, so I'm going to hit save. And in our build settings, this one's already loaded in and good to go. I'm going to drag the main menu over here so that it's built as well, because that's really important. If it's not built, then it's not going to load another scene. So make sure all of your scenes are in the build settings before you try to make it load up somewhere. So now load scene, and you just need to type in main menu. So now that that's done, if I click play, and then I click the main menu button, it loads us into the main menu. Wow, awesome! All right. We are almost done with this tutorial, actually. It's just really, really basic stuff. Not going to get too into the nitty-gritty, just really basic stuff. So now what you're going to want to do is, what if you want a picture associated with your tutorial character? Well, there are two ways you can do that. One is through a portrait, so I'm going to do one portrait, and then we're going to add a little confused boy in here. And now when you hit play, going to go there. Hey, make a choice. Let's see. Portrait. So that portrait's there. Now we can choose confused boy as our portrait. Now if we hit play, the little portrait should show up. Yep, there he is. Little confused boy showing up on the side right there. So we could do that. Or if we don't want him to be there, we can hit none instead. And we can make a 2D object sprite. I'll call this boy. Change the Z to 0, otherwise we won't be able to see him. I'll make the sorting layer 10. And I'm going to put this in here. So now here we are. We have this boy right here. And we want to make him, first we want to hide him. So let's see. Sprite, if we click on sprite right here and show sprite. So first we're going to make it so that the sprite is not visible by unchecking this right here. So if we click on, if we drag our boy in here, we can see boy is set to invisible. Now I'm going to duplicate this, and when it says, right before it says say, I'm going to make boy visible again. So then when we click play, he shows up. But he's just going to stay there if we don't make him leave again. So what you're going to want to do is we're going to duplicate this set boy to invisible, and we're going to make it so that after he says, hey, make a choice, he disappears. So now you can choose your choice. Nice. And that would just be the same thing over here. So that's how you would make a sprite visible. And that is the very, very, very bare minimum basics when it comes to Fungus. There are a lot of really cool things you can do. Like, for example, if you do audio, you can have it play music. And that's what I did for mine. You can have it shake the camera. So if you do plus and then camera, it'll do a camera shake. There's some really cool eye tweening things that you can do. So you can make certain objects look and like punch and scale and shake. It's really, really awesome. I definitely suggest that you look more into it, because this really is only going to give you enough to like barely make a game. So you'll be able to basically tell the characters like how to say things. You'll be able to make a character, and you'll be able to give the player choices. You'll also be able to exit the game, and you'll be able to go to the main menu. But that's pretty much it. So if you want to learn more, I would highly suggest going to Fungus's website and looking through all the tutorials and stuff, because there's so many cool things that you can do with it. But that's all I have for now. In the next tutorial, we're going to learn how to make music in Boscasil, and I guess I'll see you then.